Hi, I want to tell you a little bit about my 1964 and a half Mustang 289 V8 D-Code convertible. I purchased this car with my company back in 2019, and I bought it from the family who bought the car new. The dad bought the car new in 1964 and sold it to his son in 1978, and his son had had it ever since until my company bought it, and we bought it actually as a grand prize to give away to a truck driver. The company I worked for had a loyalty program that gave away grand prizes every year, and so we bought this car as a marketing piece. We put about $10,000 into the engine, upgrading the front end of the engine, and we gave it away as a grand prize to a truck driver. And during that process, I fell in love with this car. I love Mustangs. I have a 94 Mustang, and I wanted a 65 Mustang, 64 and a half Mustang as well. So I told the guy who won the grand prize, if he ever decided to sell it, that I was his guy, okay? And so fast forward a little less than a year down the road, he called me up, and we were able to make a deal. And so I purchased the Mustang back from the grand prize winner. So since that point, I took the car and did a lot of upgrades that you may not see. A lot of the internal parts, the things that needed to be updated. This car was repainted in 2000, and some repair work had been done, but it was largely still mostly a survivor car. And so what I wanted to do was upgrade the car and modify it, but still keep the look and feel of the car as to what Ford would have done in 1964. Let me tell you a little bit about the options on the car. This car came with just about every feature they offered in 1964. So it has a power top, it has power steering, has power brakes, actually has factory air conditioning, which was a pretty rare upgrade feature then. Usually the dealerships installed air conditioning, but this has factory air conditioning. It's a D-code engine, which in 64 and a half was the highest code you could get. So this was the 4-barrel carburetor that went on top. It was later changed to an A code in 65. So the D code was a fairly limited run of engine. It is the original engine to the car. Everything about the engine has been pretty much redone. New headers, took the manifold that was busted off, put headers on, new valve covers. I actually still have the original valve covers that I refurbished back to the gold color that Ford did. A new air cleaner, but I have the original air cleaner that's also done in gold. The front end of the car, from the water pump forward, we replaced the two-belt system for the air conditioner, and the alternator actually was a generator on that car. And with CVF Racing, purchased a serpentine belt upgrade kit. So the whole front has a chromed serpentine belt conversion kit, complete with a new AC compressor, and that all hooks up. The air conditioning works in this car just like it would have worked in 1965. Underneath the car, new exhaust was put on, new mufflers that give a little bit meaner sound. The headers are great because it gives the engine that throaty sound, so it's got a good classic car sound to it. Inside the car, I did kill soundproofing and also heat resistant to keep the heat and the sound underneath the car out from inside the car. And then the interior was actually redone around 2000 as well. It was a very good interior job. Matter of fact, you really can't tell that's not the original. I installed a new retro sound radio, so it looks like an original radio that would have fit into the Mustang, but has obviously digital presets, has Bluetooth, hook up to USB, you can play back. It also has a microphone in it, so you can talk on your phone as well. The interior of the car does come with the center console, which was also an upgrade back in those days. So it has that center console. It is a automatic 3-speed C4 transmission. So it has the Cruise-O-Matic transmission, they called it. And so it also has the original rally pack. So it had the gauges that were optional that show you the RPMs for the engine, and the right side also has a clock. I have the original clock for it. It was not keeping time properly. I just found one that runs off of a battery that sits in there that actually does give you the time, but I do have the original clock to go with it as well. I added seat belts to the back seats because in 64, seat belts were not required for the back, so there are lap belts in all 4 seats. Lighting in the car. All the lighting in the car has been replaced with LED. So one of the few changes I did make to the overall look of the car was the headlights. I put in LED headlights, and I put in a new housing that I still feel like looks like what Ford would have put in that car if they were making LED headlights today. So they look very original to the car. They are new and obviously much brighter than regular headlights. When we bought this car for the company, we actually took it up to CJ Pony Parts up in Pennsylvania, and they actually did a video about the car did some upgrades for us. One of the things they did was they put LED lights in all the dash cluster. So if you ever see an original Ford 64 Mustang, the lights were blue on the gauges in the cluster. It looks really cool to have the blue LED light in the gauges. Another upgrade I did was I put disc brakes on the front of the Mustang. The original Mustang came with four-wheel drum brakes, and so I decided to put disc brakes. I put Willwood braking system on the front. Also did new shocks and coilovers on the front and new struts in the back as well. So with that upgrade to the disc brakes, I had to go larger. So the original car came with 14-inch wheels. I went with a 15-inch wheel, so I did an American Racing classic wheel design that fits on that car and looks like it should be on that car. Gives it a little bit more of an aggressive stance and looks cool. The transmission was just rebuilt. It actually worked really great, but we were having some leaks, and so I just sent it off and had it redone to make everything be fully functional on the transmission. The convertible top has been replaced at some point down the line. I don't know when. It's not a brand new top, but it is in very good condition. It's white. In the trunk, I replaced the fuel tank and the fuel pump on the car. So that was something that just needed to be done anyways. And so I went ahead and replaced all those. In the trunk, there is the original plaid design mat that goes on the ground. And then I have a full-size spare. It's actually one of the original full-size spare from the car. It is a 14-inch wheel, which would fit on the back tires. Obviously, with the front being 15s, it's a little bit different. So I bought one of those kits that allow you to repair a wheel on the side of the road and then inflate it right then and there. In the back, I did add a couple little subs. They are not super high-powered subs. It's just enough to give you some low end when the top is down. The car only had one speaker in it originally. That was up in the dash, in the center of the dash. So I replaced that with a stereo pair of Rockford Fosgate dash speakers, and then I added the two side speakers to the front kick panels of the driver and passenger side area. So with those four speakers and then having a couple of subs in the back, you have a pretty decent sound system to be able to listen to music with the top up or with it down. I replaced the window bearings on the lift, so it's a manual crank window, but obviously those wear out over time, so I put new bearings in so the windows go up fairly easy. Things like that, just to make the car look and feel and operate like it should. When I took the transmission out, I went ahead and redid the undercarriage of the car. This car is in great condition. There is very little, if really any, rust on this thing. There were a couple spots under the driver's side rear well that has actually been redone before me. So they put a new inner pan in and it looks great, works great. And the rust underneath has been stopped, so there's no continuation of the rust. That's the only really major spot of rust in that area underneath the car. I did a black undercoating. I did take pictures of the undercarriage before and after, just because some people will say, oh, if you did a black undercoating, you're trying to cover up something. I'm not. I wanted the car to look clean. I wanted it to be clean, but the undercarriage is in great condition. The rear quarter panel on the passenger side was replaced before me, and they did a great job. You can't tell it's ever been done, but if you look inside the trunk, you can see that the color is different on the inside of that panel. The only spots I know of that have any kind of rust remaining is on the passenger side door in that front corner. That has a little bit, and it's been contained. It's never spread, but it has not been fully repaired. I did a kind of a touch up to it, but that's the only spot that I know of that really has any kind of rust per se to the car. I did replace the handles on the chrome on the outside. So, you know, things like that. The rear view mirrors, the rocker panel trim, chrome trim. I've replaced some of those things because I wanted it to look fresh, but I wanted to keep the look and feel of the car as it was original. So this car has a great sound. It's in a great shape. And, you know, I bought it thinking I would never want to sell it. But as with all things, time, you know, I've enjoyed this car for almost 4 years, and it's brought me great joy and great fun. I've loved it. And I think it's time for somebody else to enjoy it. This is not a show car, but it's pretty dang close. I mean, you're not far away from it. I like it at this level because I'm not afraid to drive it. You can take it to the grocery store. You can take it out to a Cars and Coffee on the weekends, and you're going to get looks everywhere you go. I get people that come up and take pictures of the car just with me in it, just driving around. They'll say, can I take a picture? So it's a great car. It's a lot of fun. And I think it's time for someone else to enjoy it. Maybe you're the right person to take it home. I'd love for somebody in Middle Tennessee to buy this car so I can still see it every once in a while. I'm going to miss it, but it's open to whoever wants to buy it. And so please take a look. There's lots of pictures. If you have any questions, reach out. Let me know. I'd love for you to take it home. It's a great car. Give me a call, send me an email or a text, and let's talk.